We're being siloed into a bubble. Our likes empower the algorithm. It feeds us what we want, to keep us engaged. It wants to sell our attention. We slip deeper into a constraining narrative. But we must break free. We must burst the bubble. Truths will be learned. Cognitive dissonance will make our hearts and heads ache. Different perspectives will bring us wisdom. Some truths will be hilarious, others painful. But we must be free. We must break into the DisAlgorithm.
Welcome to the DisAlgorithm. It's late Saturday evening. I've been having trouble making a video. My computer's giving me problems. So I'm late getting this out, but I wanted to check on my feed and go through some of the stuff I'm seeing. Alright, so we'll head over there. I'm in X right now, so just look at some of this. AG Pam Bondi, the office that reports directly to you, DOJ OPR, has transcribed the interview it conducted with Alex Acosta for its November 2020 report about allegations of Epstein's intelligence ties. Make that Acosta transcript public so we know what was asked and answered. That was by Mike Benz.
Documents. There is no, but what I'm telling you, and I'm telling thousands of people and policymakers and Justice Department officials watching this, is you cannot throw up your hands and say, well, we don't want to spend precious resources on a wild goose chase, sifting through hundreds of thousands of dollars of hundreds of thousands of classified documents at the Senate. You don't need to. Less than 5 years ago, your office produced a report about Jeffrey Epstein's intelligence connections. You have access to every single one of those documents. There is no excuse that you cannot revisit those and there's no reason we, the American people, can't see what was said about Epstein's intelligence dossier or ties in your own investigation of the very topic. That reported directly to Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, if she does this, I think will be a hero. If she doesn't, I think it will be a part of the legacy. And it's an easy thing to not do. If you claim you didn't know about it, you didn't think to look at a plea deal review from 11 years ago and a in-house report done 5 years ago. But I'm telling you now, you can't plead ignorance. There's no more plausible deniability. The OPR report, all of the meta information has to be made public. The private transcripts with Alex Acosta on the intelligence topic have to be made public, or else it's a cover-up. So, you're either a hero on this or you're covering it up. And I implore, if you want the American people's trust at a moment where it feels badly damaged, this is an immediate thing. You can do this with a 1-month turnaround, and this will be the litmus test for whether or not this was good faith or not.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
But what I'm telling you...
I'm just telling you right now, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Alright, let's see. So many red flags. Today I called Trevor Project Seuss hotline number posing as a 15-year-old girl who believes she's a transgender boy. I told the Trevor Project crisis counselor that my mom misgendered me and made me feel unsafe at home. I asked if moving into my softball coach's house was a good idea, and he promised to help me get online T and my testosterone and my breast removed top surgery. The Trevor Project counselor said that it sounded like grapevine insanity. Jeez. That looks fun. This is one of the illegals who was arrested in California weed farm raid. He was convicted of kidnapping, attempted child. He was working with children at the farm. Gavin Newsom defended the illegals and criticized the raid. Of course. Okay. Doge just terminated 230 wasteful contracts, $2.8 billion, including a $428,000 contract for mentoring, evaluation, learning special services in Haiti. Alright. Haiti still? Amazing how much waste continues to be uncovered. This is all the beginning, just the beginning. Dr. Clown, PhD. Uh-oh. Jeez. Oh no! Oh my god! Yeah, it's all just gonna continue, right? Jeez. Very creepy. Oh. Oh no. That was creepy. This game is a lot of fun. Playing it right now on my other channel. It's a Virtual Game Cat on YouTube. Or at Virtual Game Chameleon. Let's see. I'm gonna look at that. 324. This is 323. It's basically the same video. Might as well just watch it now, I guess.
On whose behalf was he working? How did not acceptable? And I think the real answer is Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of intel services, probably not American. And we have every right to ask, on whose behalf was he working? How does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, a private island, and the largest residential house in Manhattan? Where did all the money come from? And no one has ever gotten to the bottom of that because no one has ever tried. And moreover, it's extremely obvious to anyone who watches that this guy had direct connections to a foreign government. Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed into thinking that that's naughty. There is nothing wrong with saying that. There is nothing hateful about saying that. There's nothing anti-Semitic about saying. There's nothing even anti-Israel about saying that. I've spent my entire life pretty much in Washington, where I knew and loved a number of people, including one very close person who worked at CIA. That has never prohibited me from saying, I think the CIA has done some horrible things, murdered a bunch of people, participated in the murder of a sitting U.S. president. It's got a whole trail of crimes. That doesn't make me a disloyal American. It doesn't make me anti-American in any sense. I was born here. My family's been here for hundreds of years. I love this country. That's why I live here. So criticizing the behavior of a government agency does not make you a hater. It makes you a free person. It makes you a citizen. You're allowed to do that because you're not a slave. You're a citizen. And you have a right to expect that your government will not act against your interests, and you have a right to demand that foreign governments not be allowed to act against your interests. That's not creepy. It shouldn't be forbidden. And yet all of us have trained ourselves to believe that you can't say that somehow, that that's like too naughty and forbidden. And the effect of making that off limits has been to create a lot of resentment, and I'll say it, hate online, where people feel like they can't just say, like, what the hell is this? You have the former Israeli prime minister living in your house.
Yeah.
You have had all this contact with the foreign government. Were you working on behalf of Mossad? Were you running a blackmail operation on behalf of foreign government? By the way,
Seems
every
kinda
single
obvious.
person in Washington, D.C. thinks
You got
that.
the
I've
former
never met
Prime
anyone who
Minister
doesn't
of
think that.
Israel living with you.
I don't know any of them that hate Israel, but no one feels they can say that. Why? And I think the longer that we play along with it, the more subterranean and creepy and hateful the conversation actually becomes. So I think it's better just to say it right out loud. Did this happen? And of course, that question has been asked to the government of Israel, and their answer is, we're not going to tell you. And I think our answer should be, no. As long as we're sending you money, if you were committing crimes on our soil, we have an absolute right to know, did you do this or not? And yet everybody has been so brainwashed into thinking that's somehow an expression of hate or bigotry, when it's not. It's a baseline question that every U.S. citizen has a right to an answer on. What the hell was this? And by the way, if it turns out that it was nothing.
Yep. You could see that's when Trump got mad when they were asking about that. One of all the ways to commit political suicide and lose the midterms, this might be the stupidest one yet. Republicans need to come out immediately against this and demand accountability from the Trump administration, DOJ, and FBI, or else they will be royally screwed in 2026. Yes, indeed. President Trump just dropped a lengthy statement referring to Jeffrey Epstein as the guy who never dies. Trump claims the Epstein Files were manufactured by Obama-Biden administration, dismissing them as fake Epstein Files. He throws full support behind Pam Bondi and urges his followers to stop wasting time on Epstein, saying nobody cares about that anymore. Wow. Alright, so here's the truth social statement he put out. His post, or his truth. What's going on with my boys and in some cases gals? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world, and selfish people are trying to hurt it. All over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration, who conned the world with Russia hoax, 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, and more? They created the Epstein Files, just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me, and now my so-called friends are playing right into their hands. Why don't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein Files? If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? They haven't even given up on John F. Kennedy or Martin Luther King Jr. files. No matter how much success we have had securing the border, deporting criminals, fixing the economy, energy dominance, a safer world with Iran will not have a hot nuclear weapon. It's never enough for some people. We are about to achieve more in 6 months than any other administration has achieved in over 100 years, and we have so much more to do. We are saving our country and making America great again, which will continue to be our complete priority. The left is imploding. Kash Patel and the FBI must be focused on investigating voter fraud, political corruption, Act Blue, the rigged and stolen election of 2020, arresting thugs and criminals instead of spending month after month looking at nothing but the same old radical left-inspired document on Jeffrey Epstein. Let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen. They tried to do the same thing in 2024. And what she is looking at, that's what she's looking at as AG and much more. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Now, it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way. And not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein. Somebody that nobody cares about. Thank you for your attention on this matter. Dude, that is so crazy to say, man. It's like, so he's just blaming it all on fake Hillary Clinton, Christopher Steele. Oh, wait, what did he say? What did he say? Written by Obama, Crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers, criminals of the Biden administration. Oh my gosh. He's completely lost his mind. We want the elite pedos exposed. You promised us that. Pam promised us that. Cash promised us that. Now it's our fault because we want promises fulfilled and call Pam out every time she lies. What else she lied to us about? Yeah, so they're not exposing any of it, not any of the JFK stuff, anything. All the stuff they put out is all redacted, bullcrap, stupid, fake. It's just all weak sauce stuff. Nothing. We can never get to the truth. So, it's ridiculous. Everyone knows this is a cover-up. And it's going to hurt MAGA. It's going to hurt Trump administration. And what are we going to get? We're going to get more of the lying left. You know, they're going to... You notice how quiet they are right now? It's like... Yeah, we're going to end up getting another leftist in the White House and just going to have to deal with all that again. And it's Trump's fault. I don't know why he's doing this. I suspect because, you know, what I'm showing here. Well, let's continue down here. Let's see, James O'Keefe. FBI leaks. FBI deputy senior national intelligence officer confesses law enforcement turned a blind eye in Jeffrey Epstein case. The FBI missed things. There's opportunities there just from like I understand hearing and listening. It's FBI show.
Small coincidence, but
I'm with FBI. It's a show.
Small coincidence, but I've been watching the Epstein documentary.
Oh yeah, it's just messy. Like you can see where law enforcement kind of either turn a blind eye or like miss things. And
you've seen the news that Deputy Director Dan Bongino of the FBI is going to resign. Breaking news here at OMG: we've obtained audio of a current FBI agent. This is Deputy Senior National Intelligence Officer Rami Hassan of the FBI, saying it is a, quote, shit show.
I'm with FBI. It's a shit show. I do a lot of kind of like countering white supremacy things. Although the last 2.5 years, I was in the White House. Yeah, and then kind of got moved.
That's got to take all of 5 minutes.
The new administration coming in, but yeah.
Small coincidence, but I've been watching the Epstein documentary.
When they were trying to release some of the files, like the White House sources.
Oh yeah, like, no, it looks kind of messy.
Oh yeah, it's just messy. Like, because they even invited some of like the like the influencers and like right-wing bloggers and to release the files. It's like that seems a little weird. Just release it online.
Hassan confesses that law enforcement at the FBI, quote, turned a blind eye and, quote, missed things regarding the Jeffrey Epstein case.
You can see where law enforcement kind of either turn a blind eye or like miss things, and there's opportunities just from like hearing and listening.
You don't think something happened to him?
But I think he just killed himself. I mean, even the FBI came out and said he killed himself. I'm like, oh, okay. Not big on the conspiracy theory. Yeah.
We're calling the series FBI Leaks. They always are honest in private, not public, so we're looking for you to send us recordings and materials, and we'll let the public know what's going on.
Crazy. There's absolutely no scenario where the FBI turned a blind eye to Epstein. Zero chance that's true, which basically makes every point after that worthless. They may have intentionally overlooked things. They may have covered everything up. There may not be anything to cover up. I have no idea. It's just turning a blind eye is a non-starter. Stop being let's see. I'll read all that. President Trump just got ratioed on his own platform after making that post. Is that a first? Let's see. Does it say how many comments there are? Oh yeah, 28,916. There's 25,000 likes. So yeah, it was ratioed. Ah, man. Alright, let's go to the DisAlgorithm. Pop the bubble and see what the other side is saying.
Even though we don't want to.
We have a president who started out when the country was together and had a wonderful leader, and he is tearing us limb from limb.
Well,
destroying every institution.
Let's talk about this Donald Trump, even though we don't want to. Let's bring it on the panel for this.
He's a car salesman. He's a used car salesman.
Absolutely.
And he's, you know, he didn't make America great again, but he did turn back the odometer. So who knows what the hell is wrong with us? We have a president who started out when the country was together and had a wonderful leader, and he is tearing us limb from limb. Well, destroying every institution.
Let's talk about this Donald Trump, even though we don't want to. Let's bring
What
it on
president?
the panel.
It's ridiculous. When did this come out? I don't know. Trump just stooped for Epstein again, claiming Epstein Files are akin to fake Hillary Clinton Steele dossier. Then he says Epstein documents are radical left inspired, and that nobody cares about Jeffrey Epstein. MAGA, are you seriously okay with this crap? Look at replies. What is this? Yeah, no one's okay with this, man. I felt totally betrayed. Who else? Just burnt my MAGA hat. They always look. These kind of videos always go big on the DisAlgorithm. What is it? Stop talking about Epstein. Did he really post that? I don't think he did. I don't know. I don't see it. That's basically what it said, but do you think this was staged? I don't know. I don't think it was staged. Someone fired at him. Now can we go back to calling them weird? Okay. Call people weird. Why would you support President Zelensky receiving, or would you support President Zelensky receiving Nobel Peace Prize? Yes or no? Why? He's literally at war. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, the President of the United States, even joking about revoking someone's citizenship, should be met with universal condemnation. Because of the fact that Rosie O'Donnell is not in the best interest of a great country, I am giving serious consideration to taking away her citizenship. She is a threat to humanity and should remain in the wonderful country of Ireland. If they want her, God bless America. That's funny. ICE attorney Adam Boyd resigned in protest, calling Trump's mass deportation policies morally indefensible. Boyd says ICE is targeting families, asylum seekers, and longtime residents, not just criminals. The fallout from the Epstein investigation is causing panic in the Trump White House. What is this? Trump was wrong about it. Officials fear this story will not go away and will continue to divide their base. Alright, let's look. Glenn Beck posted this today. If you haven't seen this or know who this is Doomer Daria, as I call
lies.
Her. Whoops. Doomer Daria. She, it's Whitney Web, but her research is really good. She shows all the connections with all the elites. I mean, this video she talks a lot about Jeffrey Epstein, but she goes into Trump and Elon Musk and just everyone and all the connections they have with the mob and intelligence agencies and just all the people that are all connected, that are all ruling us. And so I call her Doomer Daria. She looks like the Daria character from Beavis and Butthead. So I wanted to show you this.
A campaign of lies can hide anything. And with the magic of disinformation, mysterious deaths can be quickly brushed off as suicides, even when all of the details don't add up. And there's so many stories now that just don't add up. Public assassinations can happen right in front of you, and you'll never know who was really behind it or why, as long as the powers that be push a great narrative, the same lie over and over and over again. Jeffrey Epstein infiltrated the highest ranks of every sector of power. You are going to learn a lot about the world today. He was into law enforcement, art, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, big business, real estate, philanthropy, media, academics, and banking. He even wormed his way into high fashion. He hung out with Nobel Prize-winning scientists and billionaire arms dealers, movie directors, famous actors, journalists, and lots of politicians, including heads of state, not just here in America. And he has a very special bond with Bill and Hillary Clinton. We still don't know who took part in his many crimes, and they are vast. This is nothing short of political terrorism, theater facilitated by the media. Today's guest, as you will hear, I just finished it, and you will hear halfway through, I say, maybe it's halfway through, I said, I think this is the most important hour I have ever been a part of in broadcast. I've done this for 45 years. This is the most important person and hour you can spend.
Pretty high praise coming from him.
Today's guest has a gift for locating power and hunting it in its darkest corners. She realized that Epstein was not an anomaly. She is somebody who has written 2 volumes on just him, but you will see it is connected to entire networks of power and influence, a web of elites who operate under the principle that rules are for other people. Her 2-volume book, One Nation Under Blackmail, the sordid union between intelligence and crime that gave rise to Jeffrey Epstein, is out. Keep your eye on this one. She is sharp. She is a massive threat to powerful people. If people will listen and do their own homework and just explore what she's saying, the game is up. She's the kind of writer who reminds the elites that they're not actually above rules and we're not all a bunch of rubes. Please welcome Whitney Web. Welcome. I am a huge fan of your work. You have covered some of the most important stories, I think, in my lifetime.
Wow, thank you.
And you are so clear on all of them. And most of these stories are the ones you can't get answers on. They're all the stories that the big and powerful want to hide, want you to not see what's really going on. And it's so frustrating because it's clear that these things are happening and should be discussed. Are you worried ever about your safety?
No. And the reason I say that is because I think, a lot of what we're facing is an energetic and spiritual battle, I guess you could say. And I think in order, if you're afraid of these people, you're giving them power over you. And I think really the only way to win this is to have your commitment to, what you're fighting for, the good about humanity, to be total, right? So
wow, good for you. How old are you?
33.
You write and think and speak like you're 80 and very wise.
Thank you.
You must have had good parents. Okay, so I want to talk to you, if we can, in an hour. I want to mention Bitcoin, get a little bit of that. Journalism, transhumanism, ESG, the World Economic Forum. We're not going to be able to get to all of it, but we have to start with Jeffrey Epstein. Because the way you have written about him, it connects to a whole world of corruption.
Yeah.
Is he kind of the Rosetta Stone?
Yeah, I think it's sort of like a meta scandal. You're looking at someone who really had, I guess, for lack of a better metaphor, had his hands in a lot of pies, right?
Yeah, right.
So he was sort of at the center of a lot of scandals, but not necessarily at the top, right? I think he was more maybe middle management in a sense, but very central to a lot of these things going on, that sort of these networks in which he inhabits are involved in, numerous acts of corruption simultaneously. And he, is there involved in many of them, but not necessarily at the top level, right?
So was he a spy?
I think he definitely had intelligence connections, and there's a lot, to suggest that was the case. I think one of the earliest hints we heard of that was having a Secretary of Labor, Alex Acosta, under Trump, say that one of the reasons he was pressured into giving Epstein a sweetheart deal during his first arrest in Florida was because he had been told by unspecified actors that Epstein belonged to intelligence. But that's kind of, what exactly does that mean? Was he an asset? Was he on the payroll? Which intelligence agency? Multiple intelligence agencies? Right. When you have his close association with someone like Ghislaine Maxwell in the mix, and her father had affiliations with numerous intelligence agencies, it really is an open question.
He was kind of a bad guy. I'm reading your work about him, and explain who he was.
So Robert Maxwell was involved in many things, but he definitely played a major role in undermining U.S. national security by selling bug software to nuclear laboratories in the United States. And this was directly facilitated by well-known statesmen in U.S. history, like Henry Kissinger, for example. And a lot of the people, I think, that enabled him, at least on the U.S. side, tend to be those that favor global governance and, they kind of don't want the U.S. to have that kind of monopoly on power.
Because all of his family, they were killed in the Holocaust, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so he's in the West, England. He survives, becomes kind of William Randolph Hearst of England.
Yeah, media mogul, sure.
Yeah. And then betrays the West. And that's not because he was on the other, he wasn't on the Soviet side. He was on a global government side?
Well, I think you have to look at this network, and they've evolved over time, right? Robert Maxwell was very close to the Eastern Bloc. He had a very close relationship with intelligence figures in the KGB and also Bulgaria. He had a relationship with British intelligence and Israeli intelligence, and was involved in aspects of what later became known as Iran-Contra, which of course involves aspects of U.S. intelligence. So, I mean, he had his hands in, everywhere and everything. And I think ultimately people like him are interested in any deal they can make to advance their money and their power and their influence, they'll take it. So Robert Maxwell was very interested in having his family be like the Kennedy family, a political power dynasty. And that's part of why he started moving into New York City around, just a year or two before he ended up dying. And Ghislaine Maxwell was sent to New York sort of to be his emissary. Into the U.S., and he wanted her actually to marry a Kennedy, and this is attested to in past mainstream media reports. And you can see his efforts to get her close to, I think, one of the sons of Robert F. Kennedy, and also John F. Kennedy Jr., trying to get her sort of in that social tier, because he sort of saw that as, would advance his power and also, that of his children. And I think if you look a lot at the psychology of Robert Maxwell, he seems to have had narcissistic elements, and that could be because of the trauma of his past. And a lot of times narcissistic parents see their children as extensions of themselves. And so, he's looking at how to build an empire and using his children to that effect. And you sort of see that with the psychology of Ghislaine Maxwell as well. So is Ghislaine,
was she part and parcel of from the beginning, or was she, kind of a good girl, idealistic, comes over here, knows that dad wants to put her into powerful positions, but not shopping women?
I think it's a lot more complicated than that. You have to look at her early history. The favorite son of Robert Maxwell was originally Michael Maxwell. He was in a vegetative state after a car crash, I think when he was 15. And that happened shortly after, just a few days after Ghislaine was born. So her family members and she herself have attested to that she was basically neglected for the first 3 years of her life, and even developed childhood anorexia. Things like that. And then, not a few years after, she becomes the favorite child. So she goes from having this complete lack of parental attention to being sort of showered in it by Robert Maxwell. And that obviously is going to have a psychological impact on someone. And in addition, she was basically managed by her father from a very early age. He managed her, tried to manage her romantic life. He tried to manage what job she would have, and she was very dependent on him. So when he is dead in 1991, it makes sense that she would attach herself to someone with a lot of the similar characteristics, right?
So Dad didn't know about Jeffrey Epstein wasn't alive at that point?
Well, the allegation have been made by people that worked with Robert Maxwell in the 80s that Jeffrey Epstein was seen in his offices frequently in the United Kingdom. And during that period of time, it was known that Epstein was active in the United Kingdom. He was allegedly being mentored by a British arms dealer named Douglas Leese with British intelligence connections.
God. First of all, you wrote 2 volumes on this.
1,000 pages.
Yeah, I mean, that is crazy amounts of work.
Yeah, and my son was born in the middle of it, so it was really crazy.
You were
there. All right, if that interests you, I'll put the link in the description. It's very interesting. She really dives deep into all the connections, and they go into a bunch of different stuff. So that was a great interview. If you just look her up on YouTube, she has tons of videos. She's always popping up on other podcasts and stuff, and just blowing people's minds with all of her knowledge. So check her out. It's Whitney Web. Doomer Daria, as I'll call her. That's pretty much it. Joey B Toonz had a new one come out today, a new video. I always like to see these. They're funny.
Hey, what the f is this? Hey, dude, I'm just trying to go up the stairs here. I mean, hey, you the get up, you piece of prosciutto. Did you just call me a piece of prosciutto? I'm not even sure how to take that.
Can you fucking up? Out, out, out!
All right, I'll go around you. Jesus Christ.
Fucking you to shut up!
The hell kind of park is this? Now that's nice. A lady in heat slapping her ham wallet. Yeah, this is where you want to bring your kids.
I know that looked weird, but that's how you release guilt and shame from your body.
Yeah, no, that's how you acquire it. I mean, what are we talking about here? You know, I try to go to a new park to avoid the nut jobs, but it doesn't matter. They always find me.
With so much drama in the LBC, it's kind of hard being a Snoop Deal Double G.
Well, didn't expect the girl from Little House on the Prairie to grow up performing Snoop Dogg covers for strangers in the park.
I got freaks in the living room getting it on, and they ain't leaving till 6 in the morning. So what you want to do? I got a pocket full of rubbers and my homeboys do too.
I'd rather this than the emo peacock, that's for sure.
We don't love them though.
Become so numb, I can feel you there.
Oh no.
Become so tired, so much more aware.
Once he shows up, you know who's close by, don't you?
Everything to love.
Yep, I knew it. There he is, his backup singer.
So much today, lost in the between.
I swear they know where I'm gonna be and just do this to torture me.
And I won't forget those who died.
At least it sounds like we got someone over here singing something nice for once.
I'm not proud to be an American where the land's not truly free.
Oh, never mind. Just a future childless hoarding cat lady from Portland who hates her country, I'm guessing.
And there ain't no doubt I hate this land.
Jeez.
Now, do you think the mental illness starts after the septum piercing or before? Does anybody know?
God
Before, obviously. Why else did you get one?
Yeah, let's start with the plot of land you're sitting on. Just stay right there and don't move, okay? Ugh. They hate the country, yet they choose to live here. That's got to be some sort of terminal contradiction disorder.
Hi. Oh,
not you again.
Yeah.
Dude, you followed me here.
No,
No, just stop this. You can't go through life being like this, dude. You keep doing this, you're gonna end up in a Joey B Toonz video. You're making bird sounds for no reason. Alright, I gotta get out of this park. See you later, MC Seagull droppings.
I'll put that in the description too. That's crazy. He's got a bunch. I like the Joey B Toonz, or Joey B versus the World. Those are good ones. Oh, alright. Well, hopefully Trump realizes how much he's off base with all this. Because none of this is going to go away. None of this is going to stop. It's totally going to collapse everything. I mean, if that's what he wants, I mean, that's what's going to happen. Because he's not one to back down or admit he's wrong about anything. So I don't know. This just sucks. Hopefully, Dan Bongino, Cash Patel, and Pam Bondi can walk some of this stuff back, because it's not looking good. So, in the DisAlgorithm, we learned, of course, Trump is in the Epstein Files, and what else? MAGA's done. Well, we learned that on both of them. MAGA's done, and what else? Oh, the assassination attempts were fake. So, same old stuff. It's all Trump, Trump, Trump. Ice, ice, ice. Trump, Trump, Trump. Ice, ice, ice. Anyways, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Some truths will be hilarious, others painful. But we must be free. We must break into the DisAlgorithm.